From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, December 14th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.53 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,234 per ounce. Zen is trading at $4, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,308. Antiwar.com reports in a vote on Thursday, the U.S. Senate passed S.J. Resolution 54 in a vote of 56 to 41. The resolution is a War Powers Act challenge to the unauthorized U.S. involvement in the war in Yemen and would require the U.S. to cease its involvement if a complementary bill passes in the House. 45 years to the day after the War Powers Act was passed, this is the first successful challenge to it. Several amendments were also voted on, with most passing and added to the bill. Senator Young's amendment clarified that this bill includes a prohibition on refueling Saudi warplanes, as both the administration and opponents argued that did not count as war. Senator Cornyn offered and passed 3 amendments, 2 mandating reports be provided, and a third that said despite this bill not being anything about Israel, the opposition to the war in Yemen was not meant to oppose anything the U.S. does with Israel. Senator Tom Cotton was the only one whose amendments did not pass, as both were designed specifically to undermine the bill. The first said the U.S. could stay in the war as long as they claimed to be trying to reduce civilian casualties, while the second said the U.S. could stay as long as they were fighting the Shiite Houthi movement. Both failed handily. The passage of the resolution caps weeks of efforts in the Senate, including multiple votes which were needed to advance the bill to the point where it would actually get a substantial debate and a vote of its own. The success of this challenge is historic, and yet it is incomplete at this point. House efforts to challenge the Yemen war have repeatedly been derailed by Republican leadership changing rules at the last minute to deny it a proper vote. This almost certainly means no House version will be entertained until January at the earliest, when the new Congress takes over. The Trump administration has loudly opposed this challenge to the Yemen war, arguing simultaneously that it's not really a war and that U.S. support for Saudi Arabia is so critical that it should not matter how bad the war is. Anger at the Saudis over the murder of Jamal Khashoggi is seen to have driven a lot of the last-minute support for this bill. The Senate also unanimously and without objection passed a resolution condemning Saudi Arabia's murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi and expressed the Senate's sense that the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman was responsible for that murder. The resolutions passed mostly because the White House had broadly refused to criticize the Saudis over the murder and also refused to blame the prince, despite the CIA expressing strong confidence that the Crown Prince ordered the murder. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports Alabama's Attorney General said on Thursday he will take over the investigation into the killing of a man by police officers who mistook him as a suspect in a shooting at a shopping mall on Thanksgiving night. In a letter to Jefferson County District Attorney Danny Carr, Attorney General Steve Marshall said he made the decision after Carr admitted the presence of a potential conflict of interest and bias between him and other parties in the case. On Thanksgiving night during Black Friday sales, a police officer in the Birmingham suburb of Hoover shot and killed E.J. Bradford at the River Chase Galleria, believing him to be the gunman in a shooting at the mall that wounded 2 people. Later, police said Bradford was likely not the shooter and that the actual gunman remained at large. A suspect was arrested days later. Marshall said in his letters that the officer who shot Bradford was either the charging officer or a witness in about 20 unrelated cases. The DA's office could be suspected of trying to protect the officer because his testimony might be important in the other cases. Marshall also said the DA had acknowledged personal relationships with some of the protesters who called for the officer who shot Bradford to be criminally prosecuted. Marshall said that in addition to taking over the investigation into Bradford's death, he was taking over the investigation of the 2 people wounded in the mall shooting. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. This has been FPP Radio News, online at FPPRadio.com.